Greetings to you all. This is Sam Golden, Assistant Professor from the Department of English of Bishop Weber College. Today we are going to discuss an important topic under English language teaching and under the broader topic of behaviorist theories of learning. Behavior is always looked in for the observable changes in the people or in their specimens, because they cannot understand what is going on inside a person, inside the mind of a person, and that is why observable changes are very much required. One of the important topics or a theory of behaviorist learners, behaviorist theorists, is this operant conditioning. It is a learning process where voluntary behaviors are modified by reward or aversive stimuli. Rewards are something that we all love, and aversive stimuli, things that we do not want to have in our life. Edward Thorndike is the one who originated this theory in his law of effect, where he said that behaviors arise as a result of satisfying or discomforting consequences. So it all rests on the consequences and not on the process. It all depends on the consequence, how it all ends up. B.F. Skinner is a person who mastered it, and he says that learning occurs through the process of reinforcing an appropriate voluntary response to a stimulus in the environment. And he says that consequences that follow any given behavior could either increase a behavior or else decrease a behavior. We have to look into two terms here. One is reinforcement and the other is punishment. Reinforcement is anything that could increase a certain behavior as a result of something that we do. And a punishment is always something that decreases the behavior of a child, a student, a person, because of something that we do. And here there is another thing we introduce to both the reinforcement and punishment, that is stimulus added or stimulus removed. Either it is positive or negative. We can further divide reinforcement into a positive reinforcement or a negative reinforcement. Similarly, punishment can also be divided into positive punishment and negative punishment. The one miscommunication that shouldn't happen here is that positive and negative here shouldn't be taken to be good and bad. Rather, it is either you are adding something to it or subtracting something from something. Right. Reinforcement, as I said earlier, is something that increases a desired behavior or any behavior for that sort. If it is positive, an example is given here. You praise a child for completing its homework. You are adding something to it. You are adding a value. You are giving something there. So in that case, the child will do that same activity again and again. It will try to complete its homework every time so that it gets praise from the teacher. So you are giving something that means that it is positive, and then you are trying to increase the behavior in the child, so it isn't reinforcement. It can also be a negative reinforcement. You take away something from the child that makes it increase a certain behavior, a desired good behavior. And here, because the child because the child completed the homework, it is given an exemption from doing some other odd works or odd jobs, or maybe from doing the dinner dishes. And in this case, it is relaxed from something. It is some burden on it is taken away. Some responsibility that it doesn't want to do often is taken away. So by taking away, it means that it is negative, and since it increases a good behavior in it, it is a reinforcement. So this is how positive and negative reinforcement can work. And when we come to punishment, again, we take away something or we give something to decrease a behavior. When we give something to decrease a behavior, it is positive, and when we take away something to decrease a behavior, it is negative. When you scold a child, or when you give an extra assignment for a child who misbehaves in a class, then it is a positive punishment. You give something that is positive and it decreases, since it is getting some punishment, fearing or in any other response to that stimulus, it is decreasing its behavior, then it is a punishment. So here, giving an extra assignment to reduce, or since it misbehaved in the class, it becomes a negative also a positive punishment or added stimulus is given to reduce its behavior. Similarly, a negative punishment is when you take away something that the child wants very much. Maybe a child wants a toy or something, a good privilege that others enjoy, and when you take away from it so that it decreases its misbehaving or any of that behavior, then it is called a negative punishment. This picture will explain the concept very quickly. You have positive reinforcement when you give something to increase the behavior. Negative reinforcement when you take away something, avoid something unpleasant to increase its behavior. Similarly, you add something to decrease the behavior, then you call it a positive punishment. You remove something to decrease the behavior, that is negative punishment. So the result is something that determines whether a stimulus is reinforcement or punishment. We may think that we are giving something of this sort to increase its behavior or to decrease its behavior. But take for an example, a child wants attention and you're scolding it. You think that it's a positive punishment. But then if the child is attention seeking, what it would do is it would do it again and again. So instead of reducing the behavior, we are increasing its behavior. So here it is not a reinforcement, rather it's not a punishment, it's a reinforcement, and it's a positive reinforcement. So Skinner is a person who looked in or who theorized this concept, and he based this based on the rats which were put inside Skinner boxes, a special box designed for this. He had levers which the rats pull to get pellets of foods, and when the rats find that if they can pull the lever, they get food, they go and do it again and again. And later he introduced a green light inside it. When the green light switches on and the rat pushes the lever, it receives its food. But on the other hand, if the green light is not switched on and the rat pushes the lever, it doesn't get the desired result or the consequence. So slowly it is conditioned in a way to make it possible that only when the light turns green, it goes and pushes on the lever and it receives its food. So this is how reinforcement and punishment can help a lot in a classroom environment to increase the behavior of the students, to increase the students' receiving capacity, their learning capacities, and all other desired behaviors that we want in a class. So this is also applied to the verbal behavior in language learning. And finally, Noam Chomsky is the person who actually disagreed with this, saying that operant conditioning is inadequate to explain how humans can learn to construct new sentences in response to new experiences. This is the disadvantage or something that Noam Chomsky found missing. So based on this, he went in for the next theory, and we will be looking into it later. Thank you all. Thank you.